These reminders which we are going to work with in this session period is basically for those who have started working very intensely on themselves and who want to sincerely, wholeheartedly allow clarity, understanding, and the realization of the potential of love in their life. That is why, for those who are new, it will be difficult. It is not anything so far away, but there are very few who will be able to allow the intensity and energy what is required for it, because it means very carefully, very deeply to bring the attention to that what needs to be faced. So the first reminder is very simple. It's just recognizing a fact which everybody will come to see sooner or later when one is considering life carefully, that all your opinion about anybody else, all your judgments about yourself and the other is based on conditioned idea of the reality, and that you are not seeing the reality the way it is, you are only projecting through these conditionings of your past. If you can take this fact by considering it, not just accepting what is being said here and that agreeing with it, no. Consider it. Is it so? Is it not so that all knowledge is very relative in this sense? Then you can work with it more deeply. Then you can see, how can I judge anybody? Okay, for the practical functioning, you use the knowledge and this relative judgment in a very careful way. So it is not that you have to condemn it or you have to suppress it, but you have to observe that it is working in me, my projections are there, and my judgments are based on that, but let me remember that this is not the truth. This is not the reality. This is my interpretation based on my desires, my fears, my conditionings, my pride, my prejudice, my identity, my ego. It's not easy to really take it in, I know, because it will disturb your status quo. That is why I say it is only for those who have really come to recognize the need and the urgency to go deeper that it can be applied and really worked with. Every connection, when you observe carefully, you see this aspect of your untrueness of the knowledge, untrueness of the judgment. And another thing which is valuable when you can also parallel to that see in the other is that life has created each one of us as unique manifestation. There is nobody else like you. So how can we compare? And when you consider it all carefully, what basis do we have to really judge and put anybody in a box, especially in a negative box? Because when you put somebody else in a box, you are also putting yourself in a box. This is what you are not often aware of. Learning to be with this basic not knowing. In an ordinary way put, the basic ignorance, but I would put it more deeply and say the basic innocence. When you connect through that and look at yourself and each other, you will see a different reality. You will experience life and its beauty, its wonder, its magic. You will feel the blessedness. Spontaneously, gratitude will arise. I'm not asking you to produce any gratitude. I'm only recommending you to really connect consciously. That is why don't agree with me or disagree with me blindly. Take into consideration the very basis of your knowledge, the very basis of your judgment, and connect in this wakeful way, in this deliberate way, from the wholeness of the moment, from the wholeness of your heart. That is where your intelligence can come to manifest. That is where you will be able to see everyone, whether they are looking friendly to you or unfriendly to you, whether they look beautiful to you or ugly to you. They are all part of the wonder. They all arise from the same source. Consider it. Again, it's not enough if you just agree with or disagree with in a blind way. You need to consider it. That is why the last time I have been mentioning conscious reconsideration is the basis for allowing real understanding and to allow the potential of love which you carry, which is deep within you, which is your innermost nature, to come to flower in your life, to allow the fragrance in your life. So this is the first reminder. Bring consciously the attention to the untrueness of your knowledge and your judgment in every interaction. And from this basis, allow an intensity of presence in the way you deal with in every area. The second reminder is not very different and far away. It is almost just an extension of this. Only because we have the tendency to forget. And we have the automatism in us which is pulling us to get distracted, attempting to keep the status quo. Because of that, you need to bring your attention to what is taking place undercurrently in you. And without very deliberately, very intentionally attempting to bring the attention to this, what is taking place in you, you will find all kind of things. You can see the problem with the other, you can see the unsensibility of the other, and you can justify all kind of things. So what the sense of the second reminder is, whenever you find yourself in any form of negativity, remember this fact. Negativity is not coming from your intelligence, negativity is coming from your conditioned idea of yourself. Again, this consider. Don't just agree with, don't just disagree with. Take wakefully into consideration. Because when you look carefully and wakefully, you will see this factor very easily, that when you are not holding to any idea of yourself, the negativity cannot overtake you. Of course, all these reactions will come up, and let it come up. You are not trying to change yourself, to control yourself, to suppress anything. No. It is not an attempt to make a kind of holy image and special, highly refined personality approach. It is just being very plain, very direct, very honest. So, bring the attention whenever any negative judgment about anybody is arising. Let it become a careful consideration. Is it coming from my intelligence? What does my intelligence show me? What does the sensibility of my heart show me? So you are not trying to suppress your reaction, but you are also not going blindly with the reaction. Then what happens? Your energy does not get trapped in this negativity. Then you may have to, in certain situations, act which is not looking friendly, which may be a very pragmatic way of dealing with the situation, which is maybe interpreted by somebody in a different way. But through this quality of consciousness which you bring in, you will not act out of hatred. You will not act out of anger. You will not act out of bitterness, because you are clearing the energy which is otherwise getting trapped in it by just watching it. So when you have the distance and you answer to the situation, there your intelligence and the sensibility of the heart will be alive and present. And this is very valuable. Because in many occasions you may have the pull to prove yourself right, to prove your power, to prove that I am strong, nobody can do anything to me. And how can anybody be like this to me? You may feel so justified. But remember, it is also connected with your pride, with your prejudice, and all the negativity which is coming up together with it. Observe it. And you as a human being has this unique capacity to prevent your life energy from getting trapped in this negative process, and act intelligently, act humanly, act healthily, where you will not regret afterwards. When you react out of a negative basis, not only you are putting your projections on the other and misunderstanding the other, you are also dragging yourself more into the mud. You are also getting more entangled in your misunderstanding, in your blindness. Be courageously observant of these aspects, and with this remembrance bring these two reminders into practice. It will be very deeply helpful and valuable. That is how you become a blessing to yourself and to the whole world. Because when you become free from the misunderstanding about who you are and what you are, and are not trapped in the projections from your conditioning, you become free from the entanglement in the illusion. And you can see the illusions as such, as illusions. Then you will not be disappointed, because you know that you're playing with dreams. And you will know that everybody is vulnerable, everybody is helpless. You don't need to punish anybody, you don't need to be revengeful to anybody. You will be capable to live the beauty of your inner potential by simply realizing this through practice. So bring the attention to the inner process which is taking place in you, and work with these reminders as wholeheartedly, as energetically, as deeply as possible. In your endeavor to take care, remember, life is supporting you more than how you can imagine.